Hello, hockey fans, and welcome back to Royally Quacked, where, of course, I'm Royal, and now we've got Quack times two today.
Quack squared.
Quack squared.
The Quack Squared is back.
Quack. Joining us today is our buddy. You've heard him before. It's been a while.
Has been a while.
Preseason, I think.
Yep.
It was, yeah, right before we got this great playoff season started.
And we got our awesome man Eric back with us, and we're going to go over some of those predictions and how poorly we all did.
Yeah, we definitely. Oh, we lost Eric's video for a little bit.
He'll be back in a sec.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Well, how was your week?
it's been crazy.
Oh,
There he is.
All right,
There he
sweet.
is.
Sorry, guys. One of those things.
That's technology.
Yeah, and of course you get a phone call right as we're starting, so it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, well, we're trying to set up where we're doing player grades, and I got he's an old office partner friend of mine, and he said I'll call you after lunch yesterday, and then he didn't call me, so I go, what is there a problem? And then he goes, oh, just busy, I'll call you tomorrow. I go, not between 9:30 and 12:30, because
Yeah.
either preparing or doing the podcast.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and I have had phone calls. Actually, you were one of them.
Yes.
I do remember that show.
I just remember my dad's like this, just and ding. Oh, Eric's texting me. Ding. I'm like, Dad, we are live,
Yeah, I do remember that. That was funny.
Yeah. So, well, we don't have a lot of news this week. So you want to knock out?
It's kind of the melting season, right? Like we're starting to melt the ice a little bit here.
Well, there is news. It's just not as much news as normal. So
yeah, agreed.
Why don't you knock out the Ducks, Cody?
Okay, so just two quick ones. The Ducks will not retain the assistant coaches Brett Thompson, which is actually Tage Thompson's dad, and Richard Clune, which I think every Ducks fan was super happy about this firing. So the firings, I think all Ducks fan agree with. The hiring so far is what is like split 50-50, I would say, with Ducks fans. So
I would agree. I think we need to let the new coach have his own team and his own structure. So we can only get better from here, right?
I'm not worried about the hockey part of the hire for that. It's more of the off ice situation for our new coach. So
yeah, true.
Yeah. I think I might have kept Brett Thompson just in case Tage might want to come to Anaheim if I was them.
Ooh, starting rumors.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just.
Hey, be careful. You might be.
I'm not tampering.
You're tampering.
I'm just making a comment. I'm not saying, hey, we went after him. We haven't actually talked to him.
Yeah.
I don't have his phone number. Do you, Cody?
Who?
Hey, we got the sports memorabilia guy here. He probably has his phone number.
Yeah. He probably knows someone in the Sabres. Just give me one. Give me someone in the. Let me talk to Kevin Adams, and I'll get Tage Thompson on the Ducks.
Yeah.
I got this.
Would it be a nice addition, would it not?
It would be a great addition. And then the last bit of news for the Ducks is the Ducks prospect forward Lucas Pettersson has signed a 2-year contract with Brynäs IF in the Swedish Hockey League, which is probably good for his development. He gets to play with actual adults in the SHL over there, because he was playing with the U20s, I believe, somewhere before. I can't remember exactly where, but he'll be playing with the big boys now, with men, and that would be good for his development, because I don't think he would have been making the goals or the Ducks within these next 2 years. So maybe just playing with the older men, getting used to bigger ice, bigger guys, a faster game would be good for his development. So I've heard promising things about him too, so I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
And that's it for Ducks news so far.
Well, the Kings have big news. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard it already, but the Kings have announced Ken Holland as the 10th general manager in franchise history. Now, he's got Stanley Cup blood in him. I mean, he was at Detroit, he was at Edmonton, and he helped lead Edmonton to where they are now. I mean, he's only a year gone from being the general manager at Edmonton. Um, there's people wanted something different, um, but I think it was a good move. They got someone who knows what they're doing, has solved problems like what we have. We just can't seem to play in the playoffs well, and I'm hoping that he'll come up with the right recipe for us to maybe move past the first round for once. Since 4 years in a row, we've been out in the first round. Other news is there was speculation that with a new GM might come a new coach, but that is not gonna happen. Jim Hiller will return as coach, ending speculation of the change happening. He's had conversations with Holland, and they seem to be on the same wavelength, and hopefully we'll see, um, you know, he actually Ken Holland, one of his comments was is he thinks that they need a few tweaks, but they could be a Stanley Cup champion, is in his opinion. And I mean, honestly, we dominated Edmonton for 4 games, all except for in the end of the 3rd periods in almost every game. And, um, they failed. And I'm gonna skip my next one and go right to what Drew Doughty said in his exit interview, that the fault for losing to Edmonton is on the players and not the coaching staff. Nobody told them to set back and just try to play defense. That's what they did. I don't know if that's just was instinctual or what, but he said it's not on the coaching staff because everybody's blaming Hiller for that. And Daddy is, he doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he can talk for hours. And for him to say that is stepping up and taking responsibility as one of the players who failed to do what they needed to do to get past Edmonton. Also, speaking of that, in Quentin Byfield's exit interview, he stated he will be thinking all summer about that play at the end of game 4. And I go, one thing that, I mean, he's a young man, with just a boatload of talent, and who knows how far he can reach, but he's thinking about one play, and he's gonna let that fester in him and hope it's gonna bring him to where he starts next year like he finished this last year. Because the first half was not not really exciting. I mean, he played great defense and he made plays, but he wasn't producing anything much. In the second half, he took off. So let's hope that that happens.
But as a Kings fan, Gary, I mean, were you ready for a GM change? I mean, they scored 105 points this year. They definitely improved year over year. To get knocked out by potentially the Stanley Cup champs and a very good Edmonton team is somewhat understandable going into the preseason and seeing where we kind of expected them to land. You still think Rob was needing to be removed, or
I what I well, I don't know if I would say he needed to be removed. I think I had heard rumors all this year that that's a high stress job, and he played a high stress sport for so many years. Sometimes you just want to live life. And
yeah,
e even before, um, we got very much into the season, there was rumors that he wasn't sure he even wanted to sign another contract. So when Luke Robitaille said that they both agreed to part ways, I actually believe that. Now, maybe it's not true, but I actually believe that, Rob maybe wants to spend more time with his family, not have all this stress, and he made great moves this last season. I mean, look at the guys he brought in, all produced and made them a better team. Edmondson, which he took a lot of heat for giving him too much money, but Edmondson had one of his best seasons as a pro. And then Warren Fogle did have his best season as a pro. And who knows what difference Tanner Jeannot would make, because it's those role players that win the Stanley Cup for you. And you have the right role players, because if you look back at the 2 championships the Kings won, they had the right players. I mean, you had Trevor Lewis. Trevor Lewis isn't a big scorer, but he went out and did his thing. Kyle Clifford. There was a whole bunch of guys on that team that weren't, names that you would just know unless you were a huge Kings fan or hockey fan. So,
Right. No, I think the Kings are partaking in the if you can't beat them, join them category of being a
I
Ducks
was
fan.
just thinking that.
So I mean, the guy's been there. He was there last year, so
yeah.
this is a good hire for the Kings for sure, and I think it might be the one that this team needed. But I think you're right. I think Rob is fatigued. He's been there a while. He didn't spend much time off the ice when he retired, so.
Yeah.
But I think he did a hell of a job getting this team to where it is.
I give all kudos. I thought Rob did a great job as the general manager last year. I think the players failed them this year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the coaching staff. I know there's a lot of speculation about how he shortened the lines and people got too tired and all that stuff. But a lot of the exit interviews, in fact, Adrian Kempe even said, "I wasn't tired. I was out there playing." He was playing his heart out. He goes, "I was ready to go out there and do it." And there was a few other players that made the same statements in their exit interview because they didn't want the coach to be blamed for that. Now, maybe it was true. Maybe they thought they were doing well, but maybe they were tired. One thing that Holland did say in it is that he thinks they have 4 good lines. Well, those 4, if you're going to have 4 good lines, play them. But Edmonton did the same thing. How much was Draisaitl and David? They were out there almost 30 minutes a game.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You know what's insane is we were having this conversation, somebody offline here, and about the amount of the load management conversation, right? In other sports, load management is a thing. Like, hey, baseball players are needing to sit out series and making millions and millions of dollars. And then you've got hockey players who don't make the same amount of money, but playing almost the entire season in a very, very physical, competitive sport. I mean, I think Byfield sat out a game or 2 the entire year. So
I think only missed the one that when he got hit in the back of the head by Darnell Nurse. Darnell Nurse hit him, took him down, basically dragged him to the ground, then hit him in the back of the head when he was on the ground.
Right. It's amazing. So when you talk about like line fatigue and you talk about these guys playing their hearts out, like that's a hockey thing that's their gravitas. You know what I mean? It's what makes this sport great. But I do think the Kings are going to be way better next year, and I think you'll probably add a couple of people. Just having Holland on the making decisions, I think you're going to add some free agents. So this team is definitely a team for next year to watch.
I do agree with you. I think he's proven in his past that he can trade or get a free agent that makes a difference. But anyways, I want to go back to Adrian Kempe for a second. He also said he wants to be in LA as long as possible. He loves it here. So fans, maybe possible new contract July 1st, because he's eligible for a new contract and a big race, because he's one of the better two-way players in hockey.
Yeah.
In fact, he's probably right now the Kings' best player.
How old is he? Do you have any idea?
I think he's 27.
Oh, wow.
I could
Look it up, Cody.
Producer Cody over here on the.
Well,
on the stage.
I got a couple more things I want to talk about too. Also, I don't think Kevin Fiala was on Switzerland in their first game, but he came in and to play at the World Championship and helps his team defeat the USA 3-0. And they beat Germany the other day 5-1. I think he had an assist. USA has not got their strongest team this year. They're not going to win it. Probably be Canada again. They got like McKinnon on it.
McKinnon, Crosby, Fleury. Oh, Ryan O'Reilly. Oh, and Kempe is 28, but he'll be 29 on September 13th.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he was like somewhere in that range.
So
I was going to say
due for another
27, 20.
contract for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to get him locked up.
Yeah.
So the last bit of Kings news is a question to you fans. What do you want from GM Ken Holland?
To get past the Oilers in the first round.
Besides that, I mean, I'm talking about specific things.
To move the Oilers to another league, is that what you're hoping for?
To not play the Oilers in the first round.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we don't have a whole lot of league news.
Nope.
You got the notes, Eric?
But Frankie says, in my Yankee family, what's going on?
My Yankee family.
Yeah, he's part of our network, Frankie. He's trying to get us to not be Angel fans and become Yankee fans. And dang, Artie Moreno's really pushing me away from the Angels, but it's probably not going to be the Yankees. I'm going to tell you right now, Frankie.
You look good in pinstripes, though.
I've been a Yankee before. So.
Actually, we were Yankees in Little League, and we won the league both years.
Yeah. See, now I mean, welcome to the championship bloodline there, huh?
Yeah, when my wife found out he got drafted by the Yankees when we first moved to Menifee, she was not a happy person. Right, honey? I know you're probably listening.
That's funny.
Yeah. So first bit of league news. According to David Pagnotta, Evgeny Malkin is seriously considering retirement following the 2025-2026 NHL season. Because this, I believe, is the last year of his contract.
Hey, Eric, you want to take the next one?
You know what? I don't have those notes yet, or at least I'm not seeing them. Did you send them over to me, Cody?
I sent him over text message.
That might be why. Why don't you grab this one, and I'll try and catch up here.
Rick Tocchet will be the next head coach of the Flyers. It also sounds like his deal will be in the range of 5 years and $25 million total, $5 million a year. So he bounced back.
Oh, Philadelphia bounced back. Holy cow. Did they they had a rough year, huh?
Jeez. On YouTube. Go Angels.
Yeah, Mom said go Angels.
I was wondering why I didn't see her pop up on Instagram. But now I know. See, it's a lot easier to see her comments on here because I can just put it right there. Boom. Thank you, Mom, for finally going on YouTube.
Hey,
she's expanding her horizon.
Yeah.
Multi-platform mom.
It was hell trying to get all her Google stuff hooked up on her phone so I could see why she was just doing Instagram. Yeah, thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
Because it was like, oh, you need to go to your Gmail or your YouTube. I'm like, well, that's what I'm trying to do is I'm going on YouTube, and it's like, oh, you need to go on here. I'm like, that makes no sense because I'm trying to log on to this, but I'm not even logged on that either. So it was confusing. But
if you think that's bad, you ought to go see Papa's phone.
Oh God, I don't want to talk about that.
Is it a flip phone?
No, he's got an iPhone. He's got 2 iPads, but he's got 6 million apps on everything. He's got 4 emails, which he can never remember which one's which.
And you
Okay.
wanted me to help him with his watch when I was 70 miles away
I don't
over
have an
phone.
Apple. He fixed it himself.
Well, good.
He did
But
better than you did. Somehow, and his
I'm going to remove you right now.
It
his
looks
It'll
like
be
it's just royally squared now. No more,
uh,
no royally's out. It's double the quack.
yeah.
you're definitely quacky, that's for sure. But
Instead of royally quacked, it'll be doubly quacked. There we go.
Doubly quack.
well, anyways, to finish the Papa thing, he played with the buttons enough. Somehow it worked.
Okay, so let's go back to league news.
Okay.
Did we already say the Canucks one, or was
No.
that Eric?
That was going to be Eric if he has it.
Now, for some reason, the download's not wanting to pop, so I don't know.
Okay, we'll finish it up. It's only two more things, anyways.
All right, Dad, you do that one. I'll do the next one because I have the thing outlined for that.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't share that with me.
I know that's fine.
That's because you wanted all the screen time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
Canucks to hire Adam Foote as their new coach per Darren Dreger.
Yep.
He was an assistant coach, right?
He was assistant coach. I think this was a way just to keep Quinn Hughes happy, pretty much.
Well, you want Quinn Hughes happy.
Yeah, he's going to be a devil within the next 2 years, so one way or another.
I'd rather see him be a king.
He wants to play with his brothers, unless you can get all of them to LA.
I mean,
I don't know. Jack can't even stay healthy for one season.
Yeah, but then you still got Luke and Quinn.
Well, I want Quinn for sure. I mean, Jack's really good when he's in there, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Okay, so the coaches that positioning the carousel that we still have around the league is the current coach openings right now is Boston, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Seattle. Those are the open ones right now. And here's the best coaching candidates still available. Pat Hirschweiler from Western Michigan, the one that just won the NCAA Frozen Four. Gerard Gallant, Jeff Halpern, I believe he's one of the assistant coaches in Tampa. Peter Laviolette, Todd Nelson, who's the Hershey Bears AHL coach who keeps winning cups over there. And then Jay Woodcroft, and I believe there was one other person I just can't think of at the top of my head. Mitch Love, and then Marco Sturm.
Yeah, the guy from Western Michigan was smart enough to get the Hammer to come play goal for him, and as a freshman, won the Frozen Four.
Yeah,
I mean, what a future the Kings could have if him and Carter George stay healthy. I mean, you're talking you could have a 1A, 1B that could be incredible because both of them are just outstanding young goalies right now. I'm looking forward to see them grow.
Yeah, and then the recently hired coaches is Adam Foote in Vancouver, Quenneville in Anaheim, Sullivan in New York, and then Tocchet in Philadelphia. So we had 8 coaching. So a quarter of the league is going to have a new coach this year. Oh, it could be more depending on who gets hired in as the Islanders GM and if Patrick Waugh stays. So
I think Waugh stays for sure in New York, but weren't we just talking about this last preseason at the carousel every year for dumping and adding new coaches?
I've never seen it. I've never seen it like this before, though. When you have a quarter of the league getting a new coach,
right? I mean, I don't know if it's just reactionary, if it's like a financial move that the teams are like, hey, we can't sit and build and make it seem great over 5 years, but this in and out, it's a little alarming for sure.
Well, John Tortorella pretty much fired himself by saying those stupid comments.
Yep.
Rick Tocchet didn't want to stay in Vancouver because I don't blame him.
They say Vancouver's a nice city. I'm just saying.
No, but
the Vancouver's a nice city, but it's a hot mess.
It was toxic.
It is
there.
A mess for sure.
The players not getting along. I mean, you trade your best player away. The other player that he didn't get along with didn't play very well.
And he's the highest paid player, and he's playing like he's like a $3 million player.
Yeah,
he's making 11 7 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
You know, after winning the Pacific Division the year before, what a fall down they had.
And being 1 game away from making the Western Conference Final. Too,
Unbelievable. So. Yeah, he's got some decent players there in Philly, but they definitely need some help. That was a really awful season.
Yeah. So, yep, that's really it. Much around for the coaching carousel. We'll probably have more updates probably next week. Now that Talkett and Foot are now the head coaches, so hopefully I haven't really heard much around the Chicago one. So
you think Eakins gets a job this year?
No. I've heard his name around, but I don't know where.
You know what's funny? I kind of looked at all our preseason picks, and we all 3 of us picked Vancouver to come in second in the Pacific.
They were supposed to.
Hey, let's talk about that when we get to
I know.
that part
That's
of the
it.
podcast.
Hey, a tidbit for later. Hang on. You got to listen to the whole podcast. See how bad we are at predicting how everybody
if we ever get a betting sponsor, bet whatever we bet, just bet the opposite, and you'll be a millionaire. There you go.
Probably true.
All right, so playoff recap. So, we'll start with the ones that are already done. Apparently the most boring playoff series in NHL history, Washington and Carolina. That finished in 5 games. Carolina moves on, won 4-1. They won game 1 2-1 in overtime. Then Capitals won 3-1. And then the Hurricanes shut them out in game 3 4-0. I think we lost Eric for a little bit.
He'll pop back in.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that whole thing? Carolina is now in the finals in the East, and they gave away Rantanen and Natchez.
Yeah.
How do you give away those 2 guys?
Yep.
And win the East? That tells you.
Well, they haven't won the East yet.
Well, they're in the championship for it.
Yeah, but they haven't won it yet.
Oh, you think Ovi's going to come back, huh, Cody?
No, we're talking about the Carolina series, like how Carolina had Rantanen, they had Natchez.
Oh yeah,
and
you're right.
They get rid of 2 great players,
right?
And now they're in the East Finals. That doesn't even make sense to me.
They're probably I feel like they're better than they were before. Like
I think
around.
in a way, yes. I mean,
if you think about it, they pretty much traded Jack Drury and Martin Natchez for Stankoven, Hall, and 2 first-round picks.
Wow.
If you really think about it.
Well, I like Stankoven, though.
I do like Stankoven. Apparently it's Stankoven, but I like Stankoven because stink. I just like that better.
Kind of stanky?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then game 4. Let me finish this real quick. Game 4, the Hurricanes won 5-2, and then in the last game, Carolina scored the game-winning goal with about less than 2 minutes left, and they won 3-1 with an empty netter. So Carolina moves on in 5 games. God, the Capitals were just not the team. Like they looked completely different in that series.
True.
And then we'll go to my dad's favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers, defeated the Vegas Golden Knights 4-1. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah.
So you think about they just walked all. I mean, they were competitive games, but 4 out of 5 against the Vegas Golden Knights. Nobody does that to the Knights,
right?
You know what's funny? Ever since we played the Skinner on our podcast,
yeah,
they've only lost. They
haven't lost one game. One game.
And honestly, I didn't want to do it because I was like, watch, we do this, and something's gonna happen. I even thought about that, and I don't know if I texted you. I was like, "Are you sure?" And you're like, "Yeah, let's do it." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't want to do
man,
it because
it was still fun.
is it fun now?
Okay, you really think that made a difference?
You never know.
I don't think so.
We'll
You
try it
never
again
know.
next year.
Stuart Skinner could be one of our Canadian listeners. You never know.
I'm sure we would have had something go
Wouldn't
across
that
the
have been a
thing.
story?
Or maybe just our one single listener that we have, or I mean, him and Adam. But yeah, Edmonton won the series 4-1. They won both games in Vegas to take a 2-0 lead, and then Vegas won 4-3 in Edmonton, and then Game 4 and Game 5, the Edmonton shut out Vegas. They won 3-0 and then 1-0 in overtime for Game 5 to move on to the Western Conference Final.
So for me, I really didn't. I don't want Edmonton to win, but it really proved to me that it wasn't just how the Kings played; it was how Edmonton played because they
Right.
walked all over Vegas.
Yeah.
I think
So
the thing is, yes and no.
They brought their best at the end of the season, obviously, because before that, the Draisaitl and McDavid were hurt a lot, and they weren't playing all that well. They probably, if they would have not had that and played like that, they would have been the second seed instead of the third seed.
It's crazy because Connor McDavid only has, only 17 points. Draisaitl has 16. Bouchard has 12. That's crazy. Like, and because normally they were, I think at this time they each had like over 20 points. Both of them did.
Well, so there's the other thing about Edmonton. Everybody started playing to their abilities, how they had not played during the season.
Yeah,
Yep. 100%. Everything started to click there at the end. That's
Bouchard was
non-existent at one point.
Pretty much, yeah, non-existent, and he was the king killer.
Yeah, trust me, I remember on my fantasy line, every time I'd pick him up, he'd go for like 0.1 something. Yeah, it's like, wow.
And then you dump him, and then he gets like 12 points. So like, what the hell?
You're like, we're just not on the same.
Oh, trust me, Eric. I was really mad with fantasy, and I know I told us let's focus, but I had Draisaitl on my team, and it was like it was a semifinal between you and me. And they said Draisaitl wasn't going to play in that Saturday game. So I was like, okay, I won't play him. He plays, gets 12 points that game. So I didn't get any points, any of that 12 points. And I think I barely lost to you. If I would have just played Draisaitl that one game, I would have beat you.
You would have won. Yeah.
I would have won. It was, I was just I was so mad. I was like, they said he wasn't going to, I was like, looking, I was like, he's not playing. Okay. I literally went on that day. And I was like, all right, I got to check. I got to beat Eric. And I checked, like, all right, Draisaitl's not playing. Okay, I won't play him. I'll pick up somebody else. Nope.
No, that was wild because weren't we separated by maybe a point?
I think it was 2.5 points.
Something real tight.
I have it. I have our fantasy thing. I could check. I could actually check everything when we get there. So
yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
I think it was 2.5 points if I remember right. And I'm sitting there. And I remember you telling me about Draisaitl, and I go, okay. But then again, if I didn't remind you a few times, you wouldn't have been fixing your team.
Yeah,
because I was doing the same damn thing, and I know, Eric, you did it because I'm sitting there going, how am I beating him when I failed?
Yeah, right.
Okay, I have it right here. I lost by literally 2.05. It was.
Oh, I thought it was 2.5. I was close.
No, 2.05. I had 755 points, and 0.25, and Eric had 757.3. So literally 2.05.
That is it. Yeah, it was a heck of a week too. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
We were, and I will tell you, I was passionate about beating you, so I looked as much as I could to make sure I had the right lineup. But
yeah, I didn't have Draisaitl those whole 2 weeks, and I was so mad.
We actually have, I guess we're doing a recap of the Fantasy Hockey League.
Yes, we are.
So why not? We'll move on back to where we were at and come back to that when it's time.
Okay, so we'll focus on the game that's going to happen tonight. Dallas versus Winnipeg. Dallas is winning 3-2, and they're moving back to Dallas. Does the series end tonight, or do they go to Game 7 back in Winnipeg?
Oh God.
My gut says the Dallas closes this thing out, and it's only because of Hellebuck's record on the road. That's the only reason that I would say.
Do they start Eric Comrie in this game?
I mean, that would be creative, but what does that do for the head game for Connor going in? Like, hey, you can't beat this team on the road.
Stay in Winnipeg. Do what you need to do. You don't even need to travel to Dallas. Stay in Winnipeg. Drink as many beers. I don't care. Just be ready for Game 7. Okay.
Yeah. We'll come back to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm really. I mean, I'm a betting man here, so I'm probably going to go with Dallas on this, but only because of that stat.
Not to mention you in the preseason pick, you picked them to be in the championship.
Yeah, I did. I don't know about Edmonton in the next round.
Did anybody pick a champion? Because I didn't see that in your.
I don't know if I didn't have it. I don't think we picked an actual winner. If we
Maybe
did, I can go back and try to find it, but that's going to be fun. I
think organically we did, right? Didn't we? Like, don't we all have one team in this right now? So it'd be.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Cody has Edmonton, and you have Dallas. So if you're right, Eric, you got one of you guys is getting knocked out. I have Toronto, which could lose in Game 7, possibly in Toronto to Florida. But if they win, I might get Toronto in and against one of your teams.
Yeah,
but possibly, I'm going to say
possibly
in general that your pick for Toronto this far in the game was probably the pick of the week because I don't know about Toronto, man. I think this is the end of the game for them just because they're Toronto.
Now that we're speaking Toronto, they won Game 6 last night in Florida.
2-0
too.
2-0. They shut them out in Florida. Who wins this game? Who do you guys have?
My heart says, and for the best of hockey, Toronto needs to win the game. Will they? I don't know. It's hard to bet against the Panthers because they have all the ingredients to win. I mean, they proved it last year.
Yeah.
Well, the experience makes a huge difference, and they got Bob. You can't count can't count against them. But yeah, I mean, hockey in Toronto, that would be amazing for the NHL to have that. I'm not saying South Florida is not a fun place, but we learning from the way the Coyotes worked in Arizona. Hot weather, ice usually melts. So, not a big fan base, if you know what I mean. So I'm just saying, if Toronto could get past them, great. But just knowing their history, I think they've got a curse as long as the Cubs and Red Sox had. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm gonna probably go with Toronto just because as much as I hate Toronto fans because they give me Dallas Cowboy fan vibes. But it is. I do agree. I would like to see Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner, especially all the flack they've been getting the last couple days since they lost that horrible Game 5. Wouldn't it be great? You just see Matthews and Marner just going off in Game 7 and finally proving all those haters wrong. And then you get a McDavid versus Matthews final.
I mean, that's a dream come true for the NHL for sure.
That'd be great for the NHL.
I mean,
and then you got Evander Kane going against Ryan Reeves or whatever in the final. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, you want Toronto to go in and win the Stanley Cup, and then Marner's going to come to Southern California and play for one of our two teams.
No. No,
that sounds good. That sounds nice.
It's going to be one of one, and it's going to be Anaheim more likely.
Oh, probably.
Because we actually have the cap space for him.
Russell Morgan from the podcast, I can't remember the name, Hockey Royalty, He had where the Kings had picked up Marner and another really good forward, and Dunn from I think Seattle, right?
Okay.
The defenseman would maybe he had him in. I thought I took a picture of it, and I haven't been able to find. He had the lines, and I'm sitting there going, that would be a ferocious team. You had Marner on the number 1 line. I think he was with Byfield and somebody else because I think.
What's the name of the podcast?
Hockey Royalty. I think I saw it on either Facebook or Instagram.
Okay, I'll try to find it.
That'd be
Anyways,
amazing trade.
I mean, I think it was a wish list.
Well, can I add to your wish list? I wish the Ducks would stop rebuilding and be good.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you heard about this, Eric. Well, since they got, Coach Q, and the owner even came out and said that now Pat Verbeek has an open cap now. Like, hey, spin to the ceiling. I want to make the playoffs now. There is no more rebuild. The rebuild is over. He's like, spend the money where you think that it's going to make this team a playoff team now. So now that we have, I agree, it has to happen. But now Verbeek is going to be ultra aggressive. He's going to crack that monster can and do his thing on July 1st.
Crack the monster can?
You haven't seen it? Like, there's a picture of him opening a can of Monster like on the draft floor. And you see him like determined, like, I'll have to try to find it and show you.
Okay.
That'd be fun. So that actually was a visual you saw. Okay. I thought you were just saying that. Well, honestly, I think I think the Ducks are going to make the playoffs next year. I think they're going to pick up some players to get them there. And hopefully they're going to and the key thing, even with the Kings, the key thing is we need to, and they finally started doing it towards the end of the season, playing Byfield more than even Kopitar. We need to get Clark. Clark needs to become somebody this year. He needs to do a big step up. Byfield needs to go to being that number 1 center. And if that happens, we will be really good. Could you imagine like Kopitar being the 2nd or 3rd line center? I mean, Anze,
that would be insane.
If you hear the podcast this summer, meet with Quentin and teach him how to do the face-offs, because you're one of the top 5 in the NHL still at 38 years old. Teach him what he needs to learn so he can become an elite face-off guy. Want to see him in the top 5 this year. There, and hopefully Anze hears me. Woo! Go Kings.
Well, for the Ducks, we're just tired of I think as a Ducks fan, it's been prolonged out enough. So either go get the free agents, that if that is the case, go get them, or start playing the young guys and letting us see them all year long and get all the old stuff out, the Gibsons and everybody. It's time to clean house and make this happen. It's got to go one way or the other, but this kind of like we're like kind of, I hate to say it, but like half pregnant when it comes to what we're going to do here. So it's not working. So as a Ducks fan, this was a tough year. I mean, we had some good games, but ultimately I thought we underperformed for sure.
Well, they were 21 points better than last year, so they were better. But they're missing some key players.
Oh, I mean, we had a 21-point increase because of, I would say, really 2 people. Dostal and Gibson. That was it.
Yeah.
In Lacombe. I would say those are like, I would say the main ones.
Terry wasn't bad either.
Yeah, but I'm not blaming Terry because Cronin kept him on the line with Vetrano and Strome when Terry should not be with those 2 guys. Those guys are 3rd, maybe 4th line guys. Terry's not a 3rd or 4th line player.
Right.
He needs to be in the top 6 with either Zegras and McTavish or Cutter and Leo, and Strome and Vetrano need to be 3rd or 4th and not with Terry, because Terry was carrying that line.
Terry year over year was plus 1 point basically for the year, but he was fairly flat this year. Just looking at stats right now on him, but yeah, man, you're right. If it wasn't for who was in goal, but the Gibson, like, is he coming? Is he going? All of that needs to stop this year, because either get rid of him and add players, or let's keep him and let everybody get behind him. But this was a tough year.
Yeah. So here's some breaking news real quick. With it's kind of regarding the Dallas. Yeah, I just saw it on Instagram. Mark Scheifele's dad passed away last night, so he's a game time decision for tonight's game.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah,
tough.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I know. That's so sad to hear.
Yeah. Oh.
Thoughts and prayers going out to Mark and his family. Man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They didn't say how it happened or anything like that, but
it was unexpected, according to ESPN.
Yeah. That's just sad.
Yeah. It's hard enough losing people, but a father's tough.
Yeah, and he's like one of their best players, if not their best player.
Yeah. No, he definitely is.
Now I feel double bad because I got Dallas winning, so it's just tough. All right.
Well, life goes on, Eric, no matter what happens.
Well, there's more breaking news. Did you guys just hear that Ovechkin's coming back for season 21?
We already knew that. I thought he was already staying for another year.
Well, it's official now, so as of this afternoon.
Yeah, he's going to play one more. It's the end of his contract, and then he's going to go play in his home.
Found it.
I like the quote that he has to make a roster at the age of 40 just to prove a point.
Oh, he wants to be the next
the best 40-year-old ever. Here he comes.
You found it? Found what?
Right here. Can you guys see Pat Verbeek opening the monster can?
Oh, okay.
Oh, game on. That's awesome.
Yeah. See, like, he's just that determined look and everything.
All right. We'll go get some guys for us. Marner would be nice. Maybe trade for Byfield since Gary doesn't.
I wouldn't mind like I wouldn't mind like getting Nikolai Ehlers. I've heard Sam Bennett's name.
Sam Bennett's an interesting player. I mean, he's fairly consistent, kind of underrated. Like, you don't think of him right out of the gate, but look at him in the playoffs. He's steady.
Yeah. So all right, so back to playoffs. So far we all agreed it's going to be Dallas, Edmonton.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Who's taking Dallas, Edmonton? Who's going to the final in the West?
Dallas.
Well, Eric's saying that because he picked them from the West.
Dallas all the way.
They were there last year, were they not?
Edmonton was in the final, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Edmonton and played
Dallas. Yeah, they played. They played each other in the Western Conference final last year too.
It would be a repeat.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say it's a repeat. But
that's because
wait. No. I have a method to my madness. I don't care about my predictions are already crap already. But no, I've picked against Edmonton this whole time, so I'm going for Edmonton for a certain reason. If that makes sense.
Oh, so they lose?
Oh, I got you. Reverse psychology.
Okay. Honestly, if that plays out where Dallas does go in, I'm for Dallas. Eric can win on that other aspect because I'm after what Nurse did to Byfield, that cheap crap. I'm done with them. I'm done with the Edmonton Oilers.
And then Nostradamus, the hockey Nostradamus.
Okay, so who do you guys have winning between either Toronto, Florida versus Carolina?
A betting man, I'm betting Florida. I love Toronto just because they're not supposed to be here, although they're very good. But just the history not allowing them to get past this round.
So you have Florida even going and taking care of Carolina again?
I don't know about Carolina, though. I think it's going to be a Stars. Jeez, I'm gonna go Stars and Canes. My gut is
So
giving me that.
it's going to be the Rantanen Bowl.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, and the Avalanche will just watch.
They'll be watching in Cancun or on the golf course.
Yeah. Everybody else can just watch that.
Yeah, talk about a disappointment was Colorado.
Yeah, and that's why my playoff bracket was horrible because I had Colorado and Lightning in the Stanley Cup final, and they were both bounced in the first round.
Ugh,
So I
that's
feel
tough.
great. I feel
Yeah.
great.
See, I had Toronto and who did I have? Toronto and I can't remember now.
All right, well, now that we're done, we can go over our preseason predictions and see how bad we are at predicting.
Terrible.
Very terrible. Let's see, where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Okay.
What is
So-
the easiest way to do this, Cody? You wanna just run through the conferences in order, and then
Yeah, so we'll do the Atlantic first. So, we were all really wrong about Montreal this season. Like really, really wrong.
I just want you to know they did score 91 points. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, but we all had them in dead last in the Atlantic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That
So-
team played a lot better than it was. I can't
Well,
say
who-
that kid's name. Shlovsky, is that who it is?
Slavkovsky.
Slavkovsky. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, I
Well,
like.
he's great, but I think Lane Hudson was the main reason for them this year. Him and
Yeah, that's a
Suzuki.
good one. Yeah, Cole was kind of quiet this
Yeah,
year, huh? Or did he?
I think he still had 40 points or 40 goals, didn't he? Or
Yeah.
almost 40.
Yeah, I think he was just shy, but I mean, maybe he did. He was kind of one of those quiet performers. Suzuki had a pretty good year too, right? So all in all, yeah, I think we all thought they were going to be worse than that.
Let's see.
So why don't we go by division?
Okay.
Yeah, Cole Caulfield had 37 goals.
Okay. Quiet, steady performer.
Yeah. Yeah, he had 70 points. So, yeah, like I said, that's really well. Really good.
Slavkovsky was my utility guy in fantasy. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Okay. All right, let's see.
So Eric in the East had Florida or Atlantic.
Okay, let's do from 8 to 1. So Eric had Montreal, Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, Tampa Bay, Boston, Toronto, Florida.
Correct.
Dad, you had Montreal, Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, Boston, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Florida.
I had all three teams that not in the right order, but I had all three teams that were at the top of that division.
Who would expected Boston to be a bottom 5 team this year?
I no way.
Well, I didn't pick them to be a bottom 5 team, but I picked them to be a top 3 team.
Yes. Hey, at least I got the division winner right.
You did. You were the only one that got
So
that.
I had Montreal, Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, Tampa Bay, Boston, Florida, Toronto. So
okay.
And I'm glad Ottawa made the playoffs. They were my dark horse pick in the playoffs this year.
I mean, they played really well. I mean, they do very well at home, though. That's a good home team for sure.
We all picked Ottawa 5th.
Yeah, and I think they were 4th, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
I think so, yeah.
They're 4th.
Because it went Toronto,
I guess
Tampa
Boston's
Bay,
the explosion
Florida.
on this group, right? Like at the end of the day, did anybody see that coming?
No. Nope.
I mean, the point differential was like minus 50. It was atrocious. And didn't they just sign Swayman? They signed Swayman, right?
They just signed Swayman just before, just during preseason, so he didn't really have.
It was like a week before the season started.
Yeah. So I mean, they gave him a big contract. Olmark leaves. It's like, what the heck is going on here? But something's going on in Boston because if now the Celtics are out, the Bruins are bad, the Patriots aren't so good. Maybe it's their year to go back to their Boston ways.
Yeah. Well, they need a new coach. They need quite a bit of help. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
They got
All right,
some
what do
young.
we-
They got some young talent. It's just they need to get some more.
Centers.
Yeah, they need centers.
Yep. And then in the Metro, we all Eric, you had Columbus, Philly, Washington, Pittsburgh, Islanders, Carolina, New Jersey, and the New York Rangers.
New York Rangers. What a disappointment they were.
Yeah, I feel like every team except for the Pacific really had that one disappointing team in each.
Well,
I mean,
no,
this
the
team- this
Pacific
team-
had Vancouver.
I said all but one because Atlantic Boston was a disappointment, and the
Yep.
Metro the Rangers were the disappointment.
The Vancouver
And,
was a
and then
disappointment.
and then Central Nashville was a disappointment.
And then Vancouver was a disappointment in the
Oh
Pacific.
yeah, Vancouver was okay.
So
So
they all had
yeah,
one.
Yeah, they
And
all
who-
had one. Yeah, forgot about Vancouver. But
Yeah.
Dad, you had Columbus, Philly, Washington, Pittsburgh, Islanders, Carolina, Rangers, and New Jersey.
And
And then
we flip flopped, Eric. I
Yeah.
had New Jersey. You had Rangers. I was closer.
Yeah.
I
Washington
had
pick though.
Yeah, Washington was not.
I had Columbus, Philly, Islanders, Pittsburgh, Washington, because I actually thought Washington was going to do something this year, unlike you two. But I didn't expect them to be number one in the Metro. Then I had Carolina, the Rangers, and then New Jersey. I'm glad Columbus proved all of us wrong.
So did
that was
anybody
great what they did.
Get the division winner?
Nope,
Who got the division winner? Nobody got it, right?
Washington was the division winner.
Yeah.
No, but nobody got that. What about in the Atlantic? Did anybody get Toronto as a division win?
I did.
Cody did.
All right. Cody's got one there.
I got one. That's the only one I got.
It's one all of us got. One all of us got.
No, I think I'm the only one that actually got one right.
Attaboy. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, but now that I'm looking at it.
And he didn't do it in the Central, and he didn't do it in the Pacific. Neither did I.
I'm the only one that got one right.
Out of the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Eric had Florida,
Hey, God,
Rangers,
this isn't a gambling
Dallas.
show.
Yeah, I know, right? Because Dad, you had Dallas in the Central and Winnipeg won, and then you had Edmonton in the Pacific, and it was
Vegas.
And then, oh no, sorry, that was Eric. Dad, you had Colorado winning the Central and Edmonton winning the Pacific, and Winnipeg. It was Winnipeg and Vegas, and I had Dallas and Edmonton too. So I was the only one that actually got a division winner right.
Yeah.
And then in the Central,
even a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while, Cody.
Yeah, the genes run strong in the family, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, that's right. I can go right back at you. Started from the top. All right, in Central, we had Eric had Chicago, St. Louis, Utah, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Nashville, Colorado, and Dallas. Dad, you had Chicago, St. Louis, Utah, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Nashville, Dallas, Colorado. And then I had Chicago, St. Louis, Minnesota, Utah, Winnipeg, Nashville, Colorado, and Dallas.
None of us picked St. Louis to be up there.
Nope.
Just shows you how that's Minnesota. Why the game's played, people.
Or Minnesota too. Minnesota,
the one thing they did, St. Louis picked up those two guys from Edmonton, and they both played great for them.
Yeah.
The offer sheet, which is rare to ever actually win that. Two offer sheets, and they both played so well for St. Louis, they made the playoffs. I wouldn't have thought that would have happened, but it did.
Oh, speaking of offer sheet, that's what I forgot to put in the notes. So you guys want to hear the compensation this year for the offer sheets?
Sure.
So this is how it is. If it's they divide the years by 5 years. So if you offer 8 years, so say you offer someone 10 by 8, so 10 million for 8 years, it's be 80 million, but you'd only divide it by the max is 5 years. So it would be like 80 divided by 5, and that's the AAV you get. Okay. So 1.5 million or less, there's no compensation. Over 1.5 to 2.3, it's a third round pick. Over 2.3 to 4.6, it's a second round pick. 4.6 to 7 million is a first and a third. And then over 7 million to 9.3 million is a first, second, and a third round pick. 9.3 million to 11.7 million is 2 first, 1 second, and 1 third. And then over 11.7 is 4 first round picks.
Yeah.
And they have to be your pick. So say so say if
so you can't trade the one from Edmonton you picked up when you
exactly. They have to be your pick.
Like the Ducks say they got a first round pick for
Enrique. So say the Ducks do an offer sheet this year, and then say they already traded away one of their first round picks, and they get a first round pick back from somebody else. Just say the Ducks and Kings make a trade, and we traded for Kempe, and we got your first round pick somehow. They would skip 1 year and then do a whole another year.
So you get Kempe and our first round pick?
I'm just saying, as part of just an example. They can't take
good trade
away
for the Ducks.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, you guys probably want to trade for him because he's a duck killer.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you guys got Ken Holland. We should get Kempe.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Eric. No.
Okay. And then, all right, for the Pacific, Eric, you had San Jose, Anaheim, Calgary, Seattle, LA, Vegas, Vancouver, and Edmonton. Dad, you had San Jose, Calgary, Anaheim, Seattle, Vegas, LA, Vancouver, Edmonton. And then I had San Jose, Calgary, Anaheim, Seattle, LA, Vegas, Vancouver, Edmonton. I don't think anyone expected Calgary to almost make the playoffs this year.
No.
And in Seattle just to be a mess.
Doormat.
Yeah.
Those two goalies in Calgary, man, they're
Dustin Wolf. He's my Calder pick. I don't care. Lane Hudson had a great year, but what Wolf did was even better, in my opinion.
Who was the last Calder goalie? Do you remember?
It was to win it.
Yeah.
It was the guy from 2012. I forgot his name. I'll look it up now. I can't remember on the top of my head. Calder Trophy winners. Oh God, now it's bugging me. I know the name. I know the name. Come on. Let's see who won. And we won a goalie. Oh, Steve Mason in 2008, 2009.
Right.
Yeah.
So only two big names there. Martin Brodeur and El Belfour. They each won it.
Steve Mason did it. Andrew Raycroft did it. Evgeny Nabokov, that's a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Brodeur, Belfour,
and Barrasso.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't 2012, Cody, but you were close.
I was close. I knew I was away. I knew it was in the area. I got something in my eye and it's bugging me. So yeah, that's how bad our picks were. Did we get? I want to say I want to know exactly how many we all got right. In the exact spot. Let's see, and I can't pull up. I don't even know where the. Let's see.
That'd be a fun one to do, and tell us how bad we are, and post that.
If we picked them in the right position, you get a point.
Yeah.
Picks to click right there. Remember that back in WGN days in Chicago?
Let's see. Where are the standings? All right.
They're under
so-
stats.
Okay. So Eric, let's see.
Okay, so by
Ottawa
division.
was 4th. Montreal was 5th.
All right.
Buffalo was no. 1, 2, 3.
Terrible.
I
No,
got it right
Detroit
here.
was 6th. Buffalo was 7th. Boston was 8th. Eric got 0 points
Oh boy.
on that one.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Can
That's
I do
not-
Hey, wait a
something?
second. Settle in, guys. Remember, we're talking about battles over there. The war is the Stanley Cup. We've got to win the big one. Then we've got one guy in there.
Okay, so Cody got Toronto. That's 1. Florida came in 3rd. That no.
Okay, so
Montreal.
okay, Montreal, Detroit.
Detroit was 6th. He didn't get Detroit. Buffalo was 7th. Boston. You got 1.
Wow, we're really doing this live.
Where am I at here? Oh, I went right by me.
All right, how about this?
Oh,
I'm going to tell you the order. You say if you got it right or not, and then you give a point to yourself. Okay,
Ooh, self-correcting.
self-correcting. All right, Montreal was, sorry, Buffalo was, not Buffalo. Sorry, Boston was number 8 in the Atlantic, and then Buffalo was number 7. Detroit was number 6. Montreal was number 5. Ottawa was number 4. Florida was 3. Tampa 2. Toronto 1.
That's a big goose egg for me.
big goose egg for me too.
I got 1, and that was Toronto.
So you might be winning this whole thing, Cody.
All right, Metro. Ready?
Yep.
All right, Philadelphia was 8. Pittsburgh was 7. Islanders was 6.
No boy.
Hold on, I got one. Rangers was 4. Sorry, 5. Columbus was 4. New Jersey was 3. Carolina 2. Washington 1.
0.
Okay.
Throwing a no-hitter right here.
All right. Central. Chicago 8.
Yay! I got one finally.
St. Louis 7. Or sorry, Nashville 7. Utah 6. St. Louis 5. Minnesota 4. Colorado 3. Dallas 2. Winnipeg 1.
I got what? 2? I had Chicago, Utah, and Dallas.
So you had Utah 6th?
I
Yeah.
got the 3 bottom ones, guys. That's good.
Let's see. Chicago.
I got Chicago.
Eric, you did not get the 3 bottom ones on that one.
I didn't?
You had you didn't have Nashville 7th.
7th, yeah. All right, and then in the Pacific,
I got 3 in that division.
did you?
I got
Let's see.
Chicago, Utah, and Dallas.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, and then the Pacific, San Jose was 8.
1.
Kraken was 7.
Nope.
Anaheim 6.
2.
Vancouver 5.
Nope.
Calgary 4.
Nope.
Edmonton 3. LA 2. Vegas 1.
I got 2 on that one.
So
San
I
Jose.
have a total of 5 right.
I had
I got 2 right.
I think I had 5. I had all on the West Coast too. Did I? I didn't get 1 in the. No, I don't think. No, I didn't. I had Chicago, Utah, and Dallas, and then I had San Jose and Anaheim. I had 5.
Yeah. All right.
So we tied, Cody.
Yeah. We tied. And then fantasy recap.
Oh boy.
All right. So my dad won for like the 10th year in a row.
That's not true.
almost 10 years in a row.
No, you've won a couple times.
Yeah. So
There's been 3 others. I've won all the rest. That's what it's been so far. But
yeah.
I got to tell you what,
Almost had you this year.
that was anybody's league. I mean, your daughter waxed me 1 year or 1 week. I mean, like by 150 points or something. And it's like, and she beat everybody.
I could tell you in the first round of the playoffs when it was me versus Eric, Eric had the second most points. I had the third most points. Dad, you had the fourth most points.
And Jessa had the.
If she had the most, she would have whooped everyone's ass that week.
Yes.
She had 780. The next closest one was Eric with 757.
I know Jessa, the girls got into understanding the stats of it all, which was kind of fun. So,
That's
but
good.
Jessa was putting it together pretty strong over there. And I don't know if you saw, but she lost like her first maybe 3 or 4 games and then she figured it out.
Oh, yeah.
And then she started to run the table there. I was like, wow, I think
So
she even got me.
So my question is, how many of your buddies actually helped you with the fantasy hockey? And you know what I mean by buddies.
I mean, as somebody that believes that wisdom is knowledge, I will tell you that I did listen when people would talk to me about things that were necessary to score points, and so that's who I went after. But I don't know if you noticed some of the trends in how I was playing. But I did see you guys caught on in the playoffs because I noticed your goalies were filled up and all that stuff. So that was interesting.
You want to hear something? Let's see if I can find it. See how many is it? If I can find. I want to say one of the least amount of trading. So, Dad, you did the most.
Well, yeah,
of course. His
last
team
4
was changed
days,
every
I
day.
probably had 70 or 80 in the last 4 days.
Yeah, so
I wasn't going to let Eric beat me.
Or wait, is that where it is?
I hate it because I was at WrestleMania doing an event over in Vegas for those last 4 days. So some of my, I was doing it when I got back to my hotel. And I was like, dang. And then you got on this run at the end where you were like 20 points up or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if I can catch you. So, but yeah, it was.
I was winning for a while the first, because it went a week and a half. And I thought I was done on Sunday. And then I went back and I looked and I go, oh crap, it goes to the 17th. So it was like 3 or 4, it was 4 more days.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, and I blew my wad, I thought. I go, oh God, I'm in trouble. That's when I really focused. That is when those last 4 days is when I focused on, I go, I got to make sure I'm playing everybody because I thought I had it won and I dumped some really good players.
Oh, I saw a few of them out there. It was interesting.
So Dad, you had the best record. Or we all tied for the best record.
Well, after playoffs, I had the best record.
Yeah. Obviously.
that was a championship snub right there.
I for once had the most points for.
Yeah, I've never lost that. That was the first time I lost one. I thought you had the best team, Cody. Honestly, I thought you had the best team, and I thought you were going to win it.
So points against. You wonder who had the 2 least amount of points against? Were your daughters, Eric? They had the least amount of points against. I mean, there's really nothing you can really do for that, anyways.
Yeah, you can't play defense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even predict. Hey, I don't know. You can.
They almost both got in. The one, Sienna, who's my oldest, she was really trying to get in there, and then it turned out they played each other one weekend. I don't know if it was like right before they got in there, and then Justin Curtis was, I think, beat one of them one weekend, and that was it. But and Jessa slid into that last spot. But yeah, it's going to get interesting now.
Yeah, he was my biggest nemesis.
Okay, sorry.
He beat me 2 out of 3 times.
Yeah, he was tough.
So here's who acquired the most players throughout the season. Justin had the most with 172. And then Eric, you were my dad had 164. Eric, you had 162.
Oh, see, I missed it by 2, Gary. I had you.
Yeah,
All right.
well, you know,
But wait. It gets interesting. The Colders,
It's
one of your
Jessup.
daughters, she had 72.
She had
Okay.
how many?
72.
Okay.
You want to guess how many I had?
I don't
25.
know. You're pretty slow to
Close.
move, guys. Yeah, I was gonna say it was
I
probably under 50.
had 30. I only did 30 moves the whole year.
And you
Think
got
about it.
third place.
So,
Yeah, but if you think about it, I drafted that well, or the moves I did lasted the whole year. If you think about it, I probably did the best really just sticking with my team and picking a good team. I had
Well,
the same record as all of you, and I had the most points for.
let's ask the champ what he thinks.
No, I'm removing him.
I think I would probably agree. I think you did the best, probably the best in the draft, Cody. You did.
For sure.
Um,
For sure.
I usually have every position listed all the way down. I did not do that this year, and I really struggled during the draft.
Yeah,
And I wish
mom says you're driving her crazy at the end.
I didn't say anything to her almost the whole last week because she got a little ticky with me.
Yeah.
That's what I say to that. I didn't say anything. I didn't even tell her I won.
Oh, you did it?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, I think your draft was solid, Cody. You definitely. And then each week you were not an easy foe. So I think we beat each other once or twice. I
Yeah.
think we split, but yeah, I mean your goalies alone were solid.
I had Stolars, Hellenbuck, Olmark, and Dustin Wolf as my goalies.
Right. I mean that in itself was hard to beat each week. And then I mean I think the time I got you was it was a down week for you overall.
Yeah,
But
because I
Well,
also had Dreisaitl. I had Marner.
the
Who else
funny
did I
thing
have?
with Gary's team was
Barkov.
every week I would go look at his team, it would be so different the next day. I'm like, who did he pick up? And then you got to figure out if he's on a trend or did he see something or so you're staring at guys and then yeah, it was
well, that was towards the end. I didn't early on. I made some moves when I had players out. A lot of times it was like I had people on the injured reserve. I constantly had two people there. Constantly had two people there. So then you have to pick up players. It was towards the playoffs when I really started making more moves.
Yeah.
well,
You know,
think about next year
Oh.
might be maybe we do a keeper league next year.
Mom says that's not true,
Oh,
and then mom Cody kept stealing your draft.
well, yeah, well that yeah, because we were in the same room, right? And
Yes, we were in the same room.
because we had like family night that night and had dinner, and then
We did
I'm
the
sitting there
draft.
going, "Oh, this guy's coming up," and I go, and I boom, 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 and then Cody would take him. And I go, before I
'Cause
get there, like
I
five
never
times, five times.
I rarely took who was like projected next. I was like, nah, I want to get this player. I think and one of them I remember for sure was Shea Theodore because he was like 10 spots down. I'm like, oh, Shea Theodore, that'd be a great pick. And he started hot to start the year. He was like one
right.
of the top defensemen. And I picked him up, and my dad was like 3 picks later. He's like, oh, because he wasn't projected to go. So my dad's like, okay, I have a good chance at getting him because he was projected lower. And I picked
Yeah.
him up.
You had a couple of those, Cody, that were
Yeah.
like long term. They did well for you over the
Yeah.
course of the season. That were really strong. Can't think of them off the top of my head. I mean, the goalies. I remember the goalies were the hardest. I think every time I played Gary, he was hawking it because we wanted to beat each other. I mean, that's just our natural competitive nature.
Robert
Yeah.
Thomas was a good pickup for me. He got hot after that
No, he
Four
played
Nation.
really well for you.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't even remember him being on my radar. And then see, that's when that's where you learn.
You know, what would be funny to know is how many of those picks were the same player bringing them back onto your team to extend your roster for the week.
I think you might be able to check.
That would have been interesting because, there was a couple players that I used as like a utility extra guy that wasn't on my roster, but I drop them and bring them back on pretty quickly. So I wonder how many times I ended up doing that.
Let's see. Can I go?
I noticed
here?
that, and you know what? I actually did that quite a few times because I wanted to get the most game. You know who really does that is Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Los Patos. I mean, that one year, it's like he probably had 3 times more moves than anybody. I just drafted really well. Cody had drafted really well. Us three would always be in the top 4.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the worst regular season I'd ever had.
Well, I'm just glad the competition was good because each week it was pretty
really
good.
Yeah, I don't know how you got that far, and you only had 1 starting goalie out of your 3. He has Ottinger, then he had James Reimer, and then Scott Wedgwood.
Yeah. Those weren't the goalies I started with. Ottinger I had all season long, but
if you would have gotten rid of Otter, I would have been all over that.
Oh, I believe. And then you had 5 really good goalies, but
you can only have 4. So I probably would have dropped. That's a tough one.
Wolf.
I don't even know. No, because he was dominating.
I don't know. He didn't play for me. Ottinger didn't put the points that I thought he would. I thought he was going to be.
Do you remember who you kept like dumping and picking back up?
Me?
Yeah.
That Slavkovsky guy from Montreal, I think, was one.
He's not even on your team right now.
Because I probably dumped him.
Let's see. Add players. Is he on here? Or did somebody else pick him up?
You know,
I know who to look, which person to look at. Justin.
Justin was tough. Justin was tough. There was a couple of must wins for me along the way that it was me and him, and he was no slouch. So it was hopefully he'll be back next season for another round of this.
He's a trooper.
Oh, he was.
He's tough. He's always tough.
Yeah, I was just wondering if let's see. Oh, all transactions drafted 105th overall by Eric, dropped on December 3rd. December 3rd. Picked it up on March 17th and then dropped on April 6th.
Okay. Yeah, he's one of those guys that was kind of in and out, but there's a few guys. It was a good time. I think, as far as drafting, you guys definitely did really well. And then the other side is just using some different strategies that kind of panned themselves out throughout the year. But defenseman was tough from a scoring category. Like, obviously it always is, but that one was tough because like the Hughes guys were down, or Jack was down, and I saw him. I ended up, I think, picking him up by the end of the year. And then goalies too. Holy cow!
Jack Hughes was hurt at the end of the year.
Yeah, who was it? What Hughes brother was on the? Maybe it was Quinn that was out there, but one was out there.
Quinn was injured for a while because he was having a huge scoring season.
Yeah,
they thought he might get to They thought he might even get to 100. I think he only got 71. I think.
Yeah,
because
just running on the trends with the goalies was a play too. Like as you're getting closer to times, you got to watch your goalies. But next year, maybe we think about doing a keeper league if they've got it.
Oh, where you keep your players?
Yeah, you get to keep a couple for each year, and then you draft the new group. That would be kind of fun, knowing that we've got some.
Do you know what's a good website for that? Because I don't think you can do it with ESPN.
I don't know. But it's something to research. We got a couple months, but I know the girls were excited. They thought it was kind of cool to.
That's good.
I like the ESPN because it gives you more scoring options. So you really have to know your hockey. Because like when you're doing like a Yahoo League, it's basic scoring.
Right. Yeah. Like the hits you've got to think about. There's like different categories that you're not thinking of.
So you got to get everything because the first few years in the ESPN league, we just kind of let it run the first year, and I figured out that and Cody will attest to this, goalies were more important than anybody else in that.
Mhm.
And
We've literally adjusted every year.
we
to make it
adjusted every year to try to make it a balance between all the different categories.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's you got to have a balanced team to win. I've taken advantage of every time it's not been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Every time
it was a good year overall, and I had a good good fun with some good friends, and that was pretty neat. And hopefully next year we'll have it, and maybe we'll add a couple new teams if anybody.
So which buddy helped you the most?
Um,
I'm kind of curious.
I probably had some decent conversations with, I don't know, Marcel Dion was quite interesting.
okay,
He kind of shared
wait. Eric,
Chris Chelios.
I got an idea.
What is this?
I'm
Could
kind
you-
of curious now too.
Could you talk to Marcel, see if he'd come on the podcast
Ooh.
Yeah,
with you? We'd all
Yeah.
four go on.
well, I could ask him. I could see what I don't think
I'll be honest with you, Eric. If you could get anybody that could come on,
Yeah.
it would be such a kick for me.
Okay.
I mean, I totally melted when he got the Eddie Garcia from the Lockdown Kings on the podcast.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I didn't even know he was going to be on that day. I walk in,
Yeah.
all of a sudden there's Eddie Garcia on there, and I go, "What about that?" I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we might
he
have
stumbled.
to do. We might have to do the podcast when I'm with him because I know like
Yeah.
Marcel's not real tech savvy, but we
Not a
can
problem.
probably get him in some type of co-op or something. But he's good people. Just some
I
of these
love-
guys. I'll have to see who I'm with in the coming weeks and see if maybe we can get somebody on.
That'd
Now-
be awesome. And anyone, I don't
I
care
was
who
gonna
they are.
I was gonna challenge you because when you showed us the picture of 4 Hall of Famers helping you, I wanted to say, okay, Eric, if I beat you, you got to get one of them to come on the podcast. Did I not say that, Cody?
Yes, you did.
There's some
Oh.
interesting guys for sure, but let me
we-
tell you something. The one thing that I will tell you is hockey supports hockey, and these Hall of Famers support the brand. So we'll ask and see if they have any interest in hopping on and just spending some time with us. But I'll put that in my future plans for you.
I would appreciate it because to me, it's like, even though I never really actually ice skated and I played street hockey for like 8 years.
Oh, okay.
And in leagues and competition and everything else, which really furthered my love for the sport because I was already a fan, but I really, when I was playing, got into it. And to have somebody on the podcast like that would just be awesome. Not to mention that, maybe it could help us grow a little bit faster and quicker.
Of course. And again, this is the breakthrough for your guys' brand is to continue to have the father son conversation because America needs that right now, and it's super important that you keep knowing you two guys both from on the field and our chats off the field. You're good human beings, and what's super important is we continue to communicate that to the world. So if I can help you push that, I will, and I'll work
Absolutely, I
with
know you
these
will.
young bucks. We'll see what we can do because I've been crossing paths with a lot more hockey recently, and so I'll see what I can do to try and help you guys.
I'm just a little jealous of all the people you get to meet, though. That's got to be cool.
It's a privilege, and I'll take it always as a privilege because that's what it is. But yeah, it's really really neat.
Mom wants to know who won the hit category. Eric, you had the most with 1,832. Dad, you had the second most with 1,677. And I was dead last with 1,083.
So Vicky caught on. That was one of the categories that I used to try to help propel. Like you get like 0.25 points, but some of these guys could tack on 2 or 3 points because they're physical. So that was somewhere to think about. That was easy points, especially towards the late. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what.
Like I said, that's why I like the ESPN league because I think it incorporates more stats and you have to be a well-rounded knowledge of these players to draft properly.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah.
it was definitely fun and challenging. I felt. I mean, I had a few weeks where I walked on someone, but there was most of them I was battling every week,
Yeah,
and that's where it's fun.
you couldn't turn your head, right? Like you couldn't let it a couple days go
Well,
by.
I went 10-0, and I started off 10-0, and you were wanting me to lose, Eric. I remember, hey, somebody's got to beat Gary, right? And then I lose 5 out of the next 8 matches,
Yeah, it was a conspiracy. We were
and
all
I kind
after
of
you.
I well, and that's about the time I didn't focus on it. I was doing other things, and sometimes I forget. I go, God, I didn't even do my team.
Yeah.
And before I was pretty. First thing, get up, do my team.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, crap. I'm driving to work, and I go, okay, they don't play to 4:00. Oh, they just text. I got to drive now. I
Yeah,
sometimes you have to look at 3:30 to see who's starting.
yeah.
And then and it has it in the on the app or in the program,
Yeah.
figures, probable or starting. And I had them where there was an S and they didn't play.
Yeah, I
And I
had it
had 2
too. Yeah.
guys with S's, and the 2 guys that didn't have anything played, and I didn't get any points,
Yeah.
which
No,
was
I'm with you.
and that's where, we did everything we could, and it just didn't work. And, like you guys, a little over 2 points difference. The one time I lost the championship, I lost by 0.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half a point. I lost by half a point.
Well, it was like that one time I lost to you on that one, like years ago when it was Ducks versus Kings. Ricardo Raquel scored a game-winning goal,
And
and I was beating him by like 70 points, Eric.
And came back.
He came back, and Raquel scored a game-winning goal, and he had Raquel on his team when he was on the Ducks at that time. And that the game-winning goal also got you extra points, and I ended up losing by literally half a point because of
Oh,
that goal.
heartbreak.
I was so
I
mad.
I actually remember that I'm watching the game, and I had looked at the stats during the intermission, and I go, God, I'm back in this thing. I didn't even realize I was back in it till that game came on. And then I'm going, I need Raquel to score. And he went and scored the goal. And then I looked and I go, oh crap, I actually did beat him. I was already considering it a loss. So
Shoot, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, knowing how competitive you two guys are, I get it. I get it.
well, we don't like losing to each other.
I just
I
don't
don't
like
like losing to
losing.
you.
I don't like losing.
Well, just so you know, when he lost, he goes, it's up to you now to beat Eric, Dad. I go, I'll
Just
do my best.
step aside, hold my beer, son.
So if it wasn't on the Friday, because you went all the way through Sunday,
Yeah.
that Friday morning, I noticed Cody hadn't been done anything with his team, and you guys were in a battle. And so I text him, I go, are you gonna do anything with your team, or are you gonna let Eric win?
I like that. I like that. I
And
like
he
knowing you're watching.
well,
Drysaddle
sometimes
it was Drysaddle that ruined it for me.
No.
I mean, I lost to Justin. I had just picked up a guy, and because he was hot, and my guy wasn't, and my guy was a better player. So I traded for him. Boom, boom, go to play. He scored 18 points, and I didn't put him in the starting lineup,
Oh, heartbreak.
and I lost to Justin.
Heartbreak.
It
Oh,
was like, I don't know how many points it was. It didn't really matter. I just said, you can't, those things you can control. You can't control is what they do. I mean,
yeah.
some of that's luck. I mean, you have some skill in this, but there's a lot of luck that goes with it too.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
But
Yeah, it was
I gotta
it was a
say,
good season.
your daughters for first timers were impressive. Sometime when you come on, I'd like to see them.
Yeah, you know what? Next time I'll have Justin and Diana pop in here and sit
say
down.
hi and say, hey, we're the ones playing against you in hockey. You guys
Yeah.
they did an awesome job. I mean, I think we still had 2 doormats in the league this year.
Yeah.
I don't think they really did much with their teams. I like to not have that, but then again, it's like sometimes it's like, oh god, this is like another job.
And that's how you want it to be. Yeah, it was competitive for sure.
Yeah.
No, it was very
Very competitive. I feel like this was probably one of the most competitive years we've had overall.
It was.
Well, now the
I
competition is who's going to win the Stanley Cup. So we'll watch these games, but I'm hoping Dallas will go and you guys can. You got Edmonton, which is pretty good, but we'll see each other next week, hopefully.
well,
Yeah.
if Toronto beats Florida and then beats Carolina, I'll be in that one, but I think that's a long shot.
You never know.
I mean, he's already in the conference final, and you're close.
Yeah, so
And then you guys got to
see.
play each other again.
Yeah,
I'm on the other side.
Yeah,
So
we'll see how this plays out. But guys, I really appreciate you having me
Well,
join you guys.
we do have one question that we need to answer from last week, Dad.
and I have that answer.
Oh, what is it?
So my mom asked us the question, how did the Stanley Cup trophy get its name?
Oh,
so
Dad?
hopefully she's still paying
Lord
attention.
Stanley. Lord Stanley.
There you go. The Stanley Cup is called that because it was originally donated by Sir Frederick Arthur Stanley, who was the Governor General of Canada at the time. He commissioned the cup, initially named it the Dominion Hockey Challenge Cup, as a trophy for Canada's top amateur hockey team in 1892. The name Stanley Cup stuck, becoming the trophy's permanent name. That's how it became the Stanley Cup.
And do you remember a long time ago, all it was the top of the cup, the bowl. And then they've since added the rest of the cup to it. But man, have you guys ever seen that cup in real life?
Yeah.
We have our picture with each of us on the side of it.
Pretty impressive, huh?
I think for my dad's birthday, they had the Stanley Cup at one of the Ontario Rain games.
Yeah.
And so I surprised
just
him
before COVID started.
Yeah, just before COVID. So me and my dad got our picture with the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And I asked them, can I lift it and kiss it? And they said, no, get out of here. So I was like, oh.
That's a pretty impressive trophy. I mean, I've seen all the trophies, but I would probably say that one is the most impressive. And could you imagine, like 50 years down the road, how big that thing will be?
No, they changed it out. They put the older teams, so once it stays the same height.
Yeah, they take the rings out.
They take the
and they've
rings
got them
out.
up in Toronto. Yeah, but could you imagine, if you put that entire ring together, how tall it would be?
That would be. I don't think anyone would be able to. You need 4 people to lift it.
It'd be like a Tower of Stanley or something. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool.
Lord Stanley's Tower.
Lord Stanley's Tower. That's a good one.
Well, I think we're.
That's the only question.
Anything else going on, guys? Or are we done with this podcast?
I think we're done with this week's podcast. We embarrassed ourselves with our predictions. So
yes, we did.
I think Great job, guys.
Yeah, I think I'm good with embarrassing myself.
I had 5 right. You had 5 right. Eric had what, 3, 4?
2. I think it was 2.
Oh, 2.
It was rough. Yeah, it was a rough first year.
Well, it was. I mean, honestly, think how many teams that is. That's 32 teams. We only got 5 right. That's not that good.
No.
And we each have one person still left in the playoffs.
How? Yeah. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Anyways,
thank you for joining us, Eric. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Always appreciate the invite. I know I was busy these last couple of weeks, but appreciate you guys waiting for me, and we got it done.
You're always welcome to come on. We enjoy always having you on, and it helped gives us all the fans actually another perspective. So.
Yeah, I love hockey, and it's become a new thing for me because you guys know I was a baseball guy forever, and just the amount of the way these guys play and the passion for their game is at a totally different level than other professional sports. So, not saying they're not passionate in other sports, but I am saying that hockey players are very passionate about theirs.
Oh yeah. all the injuries and stuff they go through during the playoffs is just. I always like to see when a team gets eliminated how bad the injuries are with those players and how they're playing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. These guys take a beating. And the other side too is that they support each other. So like,
Mm-hmm.
talking to some of these older players, they're not big ego guys. So I mean, the Brett Hulls of the world and the like Chris Chelios is dear, he's a great dude, but very down to earth for the most part. So these guys are really chill human beings, which is kind of nice to see.
Well,
Yeah.
there's one more thing I want to do, Cody, before we sign off is on May 16th. I don't know. Are you a Facebook guy at all, Eric?
I have Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, I had this memory come up. This is 11 years ago from me. Gonna miss you, Timu. You are a classic act. Come on and play one more year, please. And
Good old Timu, huh?
yes.
Because
And then
that was when the Kings eliminated the Ducks in Game 7 in 2014.
and yeah, and then the second part was tonight will be exciting. This is before that. Tonight will be exciting. Game 7 NHL playoffs, Kings and Ducks. This is the first time ever playoff series between the Southern California teams. Whoever wins better take the Lord Stanley's Cup. Well,
somebody did. Was that you guys?
yeah,
That was you guys.
that was our
Yeah.
second one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was number 2 for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
just wanted to share that memory. I actually took a picture of it and sent it to Cody on the 16th.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I'm glad you guys are have a great relationship amongst the two of you. So they're definitely respectable, and I'm glad you keep working on this. With 62, wow, you're not too far away from 100. So
No, we're not.
62,
yeah.
62. I'm 67.
Well,
Nice. You're 5 away from your age.
But that's okay.
yeah,
All right.
we'll get there.
It's just a number.
So they say.
As my wife says, you might be 67, but you act like you're 12, which is probably true.
That's a big drop off.
I would say it is true.
And it's 100% right.
One of these podcasts, we'll just have to talk about our umpiring stories. I can tell you a lot about Gary.
Oh, God.
We've actually shared some.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been brought up here lately, but we do share it.
During the off season, it's a lot easier to talk about that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's how I know you guys. So we spent a lot of time between the baselines, and
yeah, we definitely did.
Yeah, the memories were incredible.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. Glad I'm not doing it anymore, though.
Oh God, me too. I'm happy about that.
So, I get the itch once in a while to call balls and strikes, but at the end of the day, I know that it's a different game this year than it was before. But you get that, especially when the season starts coming, the grass gets cut. That's like, oh man, I got to get ready to go. But we did a lot, man, and it's even more fun watching some of these guys that are up in the league playing. So that's kind of fun.
That's true.
Yeah.
But all right, well, I'm ready to get out of here.
You want to take us out, Cody?
I'll take us out. We did get a lot of viewers this episode, so that's great to see. You can follow all our social media at Royally Quacked on Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Facebook, follow our Facebook page account. That way you can stay updated on everything. Also join our Discord as well. Everything is in the show notes. And actually, I do have some trash talking I want to say. So we do have links for people to go grade the Ducks players and Kings players. And so far, the Ducks people are really coming to play, Dad. Your Kings fans are really lacking. It's since last week, we still only have one Kings fan, and the Ducks, we now have, last time I checked, we have 8 people that have responded. So your
Kings fans.
Yeah, you guys are really lacking on the player grades. So it just tells me Ducks fans are better right now. So yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna do player grades. I believe we have you said yours is the May 31st, right? For the Kings
May 31st.
Grades? Yep. And we're gonna have some special guests on for each podcast. Ours will be June 7th because we just for scheduling purposes. I don't know exactly what we're doing next week, but we'll figure it out. We got plans. And just remember to like and subscribe to us on YouTube here, or follow us on Twitch, and please like the episode. I see a lot of views, but not a lot of likes. And so let's get the likes going and subscribe, please. Help us get to, I want to get to at least 40 subscribers by the end of the Stanley Cup playoffs, at least by the Stanley Cup finals to finish. Or more. If we can get 40 or more, that'd be great. I believe right now we're at 26 or 27. So really help us get the subscribes up and the likes up. That we would really appreciate that. And hit the bell icon, that way you never forget when we go live. You always see when we post or when we go live. Never missed a reel, never miss a live stream. So but Eric, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
Nope. Appreciate you guys, and I wish you guys well. I will hopefully be on again down the road, but for now, we'll let Lord Gary and producer Cody kick off the end of the show.
Yeah, well, that's it. And so just remember, guys, let's go Ducks.
Go Kings, go.
All right, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
A father